Alrighty, so day 4, and I have to say I'm feeling pretty fresh today. I was out of the house for a bit, going around, and just really good body energy in general. My body would have now moved into the kind of ketosis state, which is the burning of the long-term fat stores instead of the liver and the glycogen. So a lot of the kind of videos and studies I would have checked out would all say that once you move into this phase, you do generally get a lot more mental clarity and stuff. So good to know that that's kind of kicked in. I did wake up this morning with a really rotten taste in my mouth and was coughing up some pretty alien looking mucus. So that's all a good sign. The body is expelling all that stuff that's been built up in there. Also had some kind of kidney pain, and going to the toilet, my urine was really kind of quite dense and, you know, quite thick, and that's really a sign the kidneys are starting to really filter. I'll do another video again on the kidneys and the importance of the kidney filtration and what your urine should look like, but yeah, in a nutshell, it should be pretty dense looking with little bits kind of going around it. That's how you know your kidneys are really eliminating your waste. So today I wanted to talk about sugars, and I know sugars tend to get a bit of a bad rep, and people say, oh no, I'm cutting out sugar out of my diet and all this kind of thing. And yes, there are kind of sugars that you do want to get rid of, but there are other ones that you kind of need and they're essential for survival. So basically sugar is the basis of cell energy. When you take in a carbohydrate, you've got carbon and hydrogen, so your body takes the carbon, mixes it with the oxygen that you breathe in, sends it via the blood to the cell, and it's absorbed into the cell to create a thing called ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate. So that's really the basis of cell energy. Without that, the cell dies and you die effectively at the end of the day. So sugars are good if you get the right ones in. So what kind of sugars do you want to be getting in, I suppose, is the golden question. You've got two types. I'm going to talk first about simple sugars, or monosaccharides as you could call them. Within that, you've got three categories. You've got fructose, glucose and galactose. Now these are all sugars that are very easy for the body to use, and they're a really quick source of energy for the body. Fructose being fruit sugar, glucose being vegetable sugar, and galactose being milk sugar. So fructose is probably the optimal sugar for the body, because you take in the fruit sugar and it goes directly to the cell. It doesn't need a buffering agent like insulin to be absorbed into the cell, and that's your basis of energy, of your ATP. So fructose is kind of top of the ladder really. Glucose being next, also a very good simple sugar, but you do need insulin from the pancreas to get absorbed into the cell. So it's funny why they say people with diabetes, they cut them off sugars, when actually they should just put them on fruit sugars, because they don't need the insulin from the pancreas to be produced in order to absorb that energy. The third one then would be galactose, which is from milk sugar, which is what you use for the first year or two of your life when you're breastfeeding, when you're drinking your mother's milk, as it would be. And you actually lose the ability to break down and process this type of sugar when you stop breastfeeding. So really, you shouldn't really be drinking breast milk after the age of 2, never mind another species milk. But I suppose that's a conversation for another day. So then the other category is your complex or polysaccharide, disaccharide, meaning many or two sugars. And as the name would suggest, they are quite complex and hard for the body to break down. You're talking here about your refined sugars like your sodas and your sweets and all that kind of thing, your candy. And then you've also got your starches, your grains, your, you know, oats, bread, pasta, your potatoes, peas. All these kind of things are quite high in starch or complex sugar. And these are, as I said, much harder for the body to fully break down and utilize, and they're much more likely to be stored instead of being fully used. Even more so if you've got a lot of these in your diet, you're going to have an attraction for fungus and parasites coming into the body, which will feed off these complex sugars, because you can't, you know, utilize all of it properly. And that's kind of why you get, might have these cravings for, you know, these starchy foods, the breads, the pastas, the pizzas and stuff, because you might have an element of fungus that's craving those complex carbohydrates. So yeah, I hope that was somewhat informative and you can kind of understand a bit more now why eating a lot of fruit isn't such a bad thing and not, you know, full of sugar, I'm going to get fat off it kind of thing. And yeah, that's really the way you want to go. So tomorrow I'm probably going to talk about the lymphatic system, which is the body's sewer system and the way it cleans out its waste, and the kidneys, which are the main kind of organ in this. So see you then.